Hello, everyone. Today we are doing our follow through episode on the Business of Life Masterclass podcast from our interview with Dawn Newton. Her original episode aired on August 7th, and the topic is knowing numbers in data can be fun and informative. Seems like a contradiction, right? Barb Zant here, media sales leader and founder of the lifestyle brand and blog, The Stay at Work Mom.
Hello, everyone. It's Debbie Lundberg, Performance and Mindset Coach with Presenting Powerfully.
Debbie, what a pleasure to have Dawn on. We wanted her on for a long time. Now that tax season is over, one of my favorite things. So for 7 a.m. wake up, that is goals for me. It's just not my season of life. But two things that I implemented from her morning routine is the grin and grat. So I had forgotten about that. So that was one of the first things that I learned from you at the Leading Ladies where I met Dawn. And that was years and years ago. And I had been doing that. And then I evolved it a bit. So I've really enjoyed working that back into my routine. So I thank Dawn so much for that reminder and that grin. I love that. And also the app that Dawn talked about. So she does a morning meditation, and it is called the Headspace app. And the Headspace app, I love it. And I don't know if I'll be able to do it long term because everything is behind a paywall. So they do have like 10 sessions, I think, that you can utilize before. And it's not expensive, but I'm looking to not do those monthly charges. And I know you look at that as well. But I really do like the app. I love the breath work, which reminds me of Suzanne, who we've had on as a past guest. But I did enjoy the app. So I will definitely stay with it throughout the my trial period for sure.
Well, and I can share with you too. So I agree. I mean, the 7 a.m. wake up is not my season either. I even attempted it on a day that I don't have running in the morning, that I usually go with Daisy to run. And I didn't make it until 7 a.m. I was restless. I mean, that's 2 to 2.5 hours after when I get up, and there's nothing wrong with it, of course. So I am going to attempt it one more time because I have a day on the weekend that I'm not going running or to Orange Theory, because I still have those classes that the Awesomeness Squad got, since I only go on Saturdays. And so because we are going to a graduation, then it interferes with the time. So I thought, well, let me see if I can make it until 7 o'clock, because Dawn's positivity, her simple joy of energy and being happy for other people is so apparent. It's one of those you can tell, hopefully all of our listeners and viewers could simply tell from the fact she came prepared, she came ready, and yet she was so excited. I mean, sometimes when people are super prepared and they have all that data and all the numbers, then it can feel less spontaneous. So even though she was really well prepared, she gave us that spontaneity and energy and in thoughtfulness. So I agree on the 7 a.m. So that is still a work in progress for me. Now the app, I will tell you this, that, certainly for others, because we encourage everybody to utilize like what Dawn does. So I'm with you, and there's a YouTube channel that I will send. And then if you want to put it in the show notes or ask Brianna, our wonderful producer and technical person, to do that. So it's on YouTube. And so what I'm doing is utilizing those. Now it does go up chakras. So it has the colors. And I was sharing with Carrie Getz, who's been on the show as well, shared with her about something that we were talking about on a run. And I got it from Dr. Salazar, who we are still hoping to have on the show. So
and we will.
It ties so much to everybody who's been generous with their ideas. So that meditation, the grin and grat, sometimes I admit, and I have no shame in this, I get going and I do it, but it's almost such a habit now that having Dawn remind us, I thought about how the grin feels and some gratitude that was different. So you're right. Even though you and I have known grin and grat, bringing a mindfulness to a smile on your face and like how it changes how it feels. So I wear a mouth guard, and I'm one of those unusual perhaps people. I absolutely love wearing my mouth guard. It gives me a peace of mind because I didn't realize that I was potentially grinding my teeth until Dr. O'Neill, who's been on our show as well, until the team there mentioned it. And I said, "Oh, I don't think I grind." And of course, they can see the teeth. And so when I have that in, it gives me this, I have no other way of saying it, but peace of mind. So when I grin now and I have that in, I'm feeling how it feels different in that back part of my face. And I was thinking, wow, if I ever had Invisalign or braces, how people's smiles change over the time. So I've probably given way too much time and energy to how our faces and our mouths are with our grins. But that was inspired because Dawn shared it and gave me a different perspective on something that I practice every day.
Love that. The other thing that we neither of us had heard of, and I am taking it and running with it, and we'll do it forever, the micro breaks.
Yes.
How cool was that? And we had never heard that in the 5.5 years that we've been recording this, plus all of the training times. Dawn uses 5 minutes. I think I was a little more liberal. I might have gone 10 or 12 minutes with my micro breaks. But I've always written, I have a fun list that I kind of keep to the side of my desk. And so I kind of brought that out. So I'll either listen to a great music, or I'll have a fun snack, or I'll call a great friend, or I'll walk around the block. But I've been loving the micro breaks, loving.
Yes, and I've given Dawn credit for it. And one of my clients who listens to this show, I said, "Well, you're going to hear this," when I was sharing it, because I said, we look at I look at 20-minute increments, and you like 15, and whatever works for anybody is when we time block and when we track our time. So I mentioned this new concept to you and me about micro breaks. And I said, you might pick 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, something. And I used in this scenario with my client, I said something, let's say less than 10 minutes. So if you had a 45-minute meeting and then you did your notes or you ran to the restroom, book that other part for that micro break. And even the idea of micro, I believe, allows us to feel, I don't love this word, this phrase, but less guilty. I'm not a person who feels guilty about things. Some people do. And so it's less of I'm taking a break and I have to justify it. And it's more like you said, if you have a fun list, or you simply, I have a walking pad and I like the walking pad, but there's not a lot of typing with the walking pad and not a lot of super productivity. So sometimes I do that now with it. And I think 10, 12 minutes. I've been focusing on 10. So it's funny you said 12 or more liberal. I don't know, for some reason, a micro break felt like less than 15 to me. Did
Yeah.
you feel like that? Because I don't think we asked exactly how many minutes.
Yeah, and I would start with 5, but I was enjoying what I was doing so much that I found I was going a little bit longer. But yeah, that's the whole concept, I think, of the micro is short.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's, yeah, I took liberty a little bit with the 12 minutes, but really, really enjoying them.
I agree. And also, even I think the terminology is so good for us because I am an on time person, as a lot of, I know, Barb. So if I'm early for something, I tend to go look at pictures because I like the visual side of it, or record my tip for the day. So I remember being in a parking garage and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And I'm like, this is in fact a micro break. I'm not driving. I'm not listening to a book. I'm not with a client. So what am I doing on my micro break? So now I've started putting that into my own self-talk. What am I going to do on this micro break? Not simply what can I get done in the next 3 minutes because I have 3 minutes before I walk in. So that's so much more positive, and I'm all about that. And yet I can certainly learn all these years
Yeah.
later.
Yes. And so just like the title represents, Dawn, she like numbers were the theme. Even she's going to like a Blink concert. I think it's like Blink 182. So I kept hearing numbers throughout, the micro breaks, but she's also so much fun. And she is a lot of fun. And so normally you don't see that with someone that loves numbers and is so concise, but
Mhm.
boy, she is fun. So I can't wait for our listeners and our viewers to meet her in real time. But she's also about the people. And I think that's what leads, like the people and the caring about the people and her leadership style.
Yes, and it's interesting that she knew she was going to be a CPA. She was very clear about that at a tremendously young age, and it's also the number comes in because she looks very youthful. She is young, and yet she has so much respect in her field and with her clients, and she takes that consultative approach to it as opposed to simply doing taxes. She's doing a lot of business consideration and I dare say even business coaching with these medical practices to think about how it's going to impact them, their teams, their families, their practice long term. And when you get into that and you realize that takes care, that's because the numbers are one thing and the numbers are the data. And of course that matters. It's though, how do the numbers and the choices and the decisions impact the rest of the people? I'm guessing that her clientele they're surprised by that, but I know she's well respected and well trusted. And you're right, she really does care about the people.
Well, that is great. Great way to wrap up. So please know, listeners, that you can stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook at the Business of Life Masterclass. Me on Instagram at the Stay at Work Mom, and Debbie is Debbie Lundberg everywhere. So if you liked what you heard, please rate us 5 stars. We are really committed to providing you with 5-star guests just like Dawn, all for her inspiration. So stay tuned, and thank you for joining us for this episode of the Business of Life Masterclass, the podcast for successful people embracing every chance to accomplish and experience all they can, all we can in business and in life. Listen, choose, do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have ever thought, gosh, I'd like a collaborator, I wonder what else I could do, it's likely that the answer is a coach. Hi, I'm Debbie Lundberg, Performance and Mindset Coach with Presenting Powerfully. And if you would like confidential coaching to drive you to the next idea, the next role, or even to figure out your own brand, please reach out to us at Presenting Powerfully, 813-494-4438. Thank you.